Let's talk about you, my friends. Let's talk about how you can restore your confidence when you're dealing with a micromanager on a regular basis. Because micromanaging behavior starts to wear on you and you start to question your own reality about what you know and how you do it and all the things that you love about work, you start questioning. It's so interesting when I think about micromanaging because it can be a leadership style. We hope not, right? But the reason it's so demoralizing is because it's kind of demonstrating lack of trust in your ability to do the job, lack of awareness, having someone hover over your shoulder all the time just eventually wears you down. And that's what creates the toxic work environment. So it's not, to the level of bullying for sure, but it's kind of this slowly increasing feeling of defeat, feeling demoralized, feeling like you're not trusted, that starts to create an environment that's just ultimately isn't sustainable. You might be wondering, how can I even endure this? I was hired to do a job because you believed I could. So why am I now having someone have their hands in every little thing I do? It feels like you're not getting credit for anything that you're doing. And you might not be. That's just the way it is. And getting credit from the outside, looking for outside validation comes and goes. And that's why I want to walk you through this and talk about restoring your own confidence. First thing is to track your progress and accomplishments. This, in a way, maybe, I don't know, maybe we could call it micromanaging yourself. I don't want to have the negative connotation, but I do want you to be regularly tracking your progress, tracking your achievements, tracking your accomplishments, recognizing them for the success bits that they are, for the results that you're creating on a daily basis, and celebrate them, because you are giving yourself validation. Imagine if you just get out of a meeting or a micromanagement session, if you will, and you could walk out of that and say, wow, my boss must be feeling a lot of stress right now. But you know what? I know what I'm doing. I have got it under control. And look back at your week's accomplishment, look back at your month's accomplishment. In my dream world, I would have all of you have a notebook with accomplishments in it by week, sorted by month for the entire year. Imagine how cool it would be to look back on everything you accomplished in an entire year. And if you ever decide to make a career move, those come in really handy. You don't have to start digging around in the recesses of your brain to figure that stuff out. And recognizing these things in yourself will start to restore your confidence when micromanagement has you feeling beat down. Now, reminding yourself that it's not about you is also a really great way to restore your confidence. Maybe they don't feel trusted, and that is now getting reflected onto you, that you're not being trusted. So remind yourself, hey, this isn't about me. I deliver. That can be a really great way to restore your confidence. The other thing is just pure and simple thought management. When you are feeling bad after being micromanaged, or on a day-to-day basis because you're in a micromanaging culture, paying attention to how you feel is actually important, not to dwell on it or indulge in it, whether that's anger, frustration, whatever it is. The reason you're feeling angry and frustrated or demoralized or defeated is because of something you are thinking. One of my favorite authors and psychologists that I've studied over the course of my career is Viktor Frankl. And if you never have read his book, Man's Search for Meaning, it's an awesome book. It's tough, but it's so powerful. It is something that will change your life. But Viktor Frankl, in his psychology method, he talks a lot about that little space, the space between what's happening to us and what we're thinking about what's happening to us. That's the space I want you to look for, because when you find that space, that's where you can now start to be intentional about your thoughts instead of slipping into default thinking patterns. So if you're micromanaged and you're thinking, they don't trust me, that thought, they don't trust me, is going to create a very specific feeling inside you and probably also result in some actions. How do you act? How do you behave when you feel that when you feel defeated? You might not show up the way you really want to show up. You might start to shut down, or you might overproduce. And now you're working way more hours and your personal life is suffering. We're all such individuals that the thought, they don't trust me, results in feelings and behaviors that are very personal to you. And if you're an overachiever, you probably go into overdrive. That's what I used to do. Okay, well, how about if I just start answering emails at 10:30 at night, just to prove to you that I do know what I'm doing and that I am committed? Not healthy. So watching your feelings and then reverse engineering that back to, what am I thinking that's making me feel this way, is such a good way for you to restore your confidence. Because when you can start controlling your thoughts and think something like, wow, they must be under a lot of pressure right now. If that's your thought, the feeling you have may be helpfulness. And how do you act when you feel helpful? Helpful isn't frantic, right? Helpful is grounded. Helpful is curious. Helpful is looking for how you can make a difference. And when you are looking for how you can make a difference, guess what? You feel better about yourself. Another little piece of our human nature that you can leverage. Anytime you find yourself in a micromanaging situation, slow down your own process in your brain and decide to think intentionally. We have an amazing capacity to have multiple levels of consciousness going on at the same time. So when you start to go down a path that feels like default thinking, they don't trust me, this is crazy town, why am I even here? Those thoughts you can actually use as triggers for slowing down and thinking a better thought. It's a way to kind of hack it. Sometimes those positive thoughts are hard to come up with on the fly. But if you have some created in advance, some intentional thoughts you want to have when you enter a micromanaging situation, then as soon as you feel yourself going this way, you can say, oop, nope, okay, stop. This is the thought I'm going to insert instead. It works. It takes practice, but it works. So have those thoughts ready in advance, the intentional thoughts. Base those thoughts on accomplishments, results, impact that you know you have, and you will be able to gradually restore your confidence and maintain your confidence. All right. Final thoughts. I want you to assume that they will never change. You're not there to change them. You're there to manage the situation. You're there to believe in yourself. You're there to help as much as you can and do your job. So let's assume that they're not going to change. How do you want to show up? That's the big question. Let's assume it's the worst kind of micromanaging out there. You can decide how you show up in that situation. It's kind of like what I was talking about, going back to those intentional thoughts and deciding them in advance. That's something that you can decide. And if you want to show up as confident, secure, capable, find some really good words for you. Then you show up that way. You can decide that in advance, and you can show up that way and kind of be, the superhero where those micromanaging bullets are just bing, bing, bing right off of you, because you are showing up the way you want to, just wrapped in the self-esteem and security and confidence that you can have because of who you are and your accomplishments, your impact, your contribution. The other thing that I want to offer is you can actually decide, and this is the thought to take on for yourself to help you show up better, to help you just manage this, is what would I need to believe about myself to, and then fill in the blank. What would I need to believe about myself to not let micromanaging get the best of me? What would you need to believe about yourself? Would you need to believe that you have whatever it takes to stay there and do it all and be okay with it? Maybe you're at your limit. Maybe the culture of the organization, micromanaging, is the norm. What would you have to believe about yourself to leave that micromanaging culture? This is such a fun sentence to play around with, because you kind of know what you want. So what would you need to believe about yourself to go for what you want? Staying, if that's what that means, because you love your team, you love the work that's being done, all of that. Or what would you need to believe about yourself to make the move that you've been imagining? Such a good question. And if you've decided a move is right for you, you're in the right place. Look for the link and schedule your free call to talk about what's next. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and please visit elissashuck-careercoach.com for more information about how I can help you with your career and leadership goals. Talk to you soon.